So I'm going to finish up the virtual book tour idea with a couple of readings. The first one tonight's will be the prologue, which was actually I guess it was actually the last piece of the book I ended up writing. In a lot of ways, it operates outside of the story, but provides kind of the framework in the world that this book takes place. And so I'm just going to read that. And it won't take long. And then I'll do maybe two more kind of short readings, and then we'll call it the end of the virtual book tour. And who knows, maybe I'll be able to physically visit some places. But so, prologue. You know and love My Life, right? The crowd clapped and whistled to show Tanner Ray that they did. Tanner Ray wasn't present on the stage yet. There was a curtain drawn across the stage, but his voice emerged clearly through the auditorium. And you know about the exchange, right? Now, amid the applause and cheers, he appeared, stepping through an opening in the curtain as it drew back in either direction. The applause grew louder when those seated caught sight of him, and they stood because their seats couldn't contain their excitement. Gone was the armor of his standard suit, and instead he was wearing a black t-shirt and dark jeans. Everyone had grown to Everyone had grown used to Tanner Ray's beautifully tailored suits, but now, seeing him like this, it was like the audience had made a surprise visit on a Saturday to the Ray household and caught Tanner off guard, and at the same time, immaculately well put together. He was cleanly shaven, which made him appear more vulnerable than his usual stubble. The look easily took 10 years away without making him look like a slouch who couldn't be bothered to dress for the occasion. Where accessories and the right shoes might dress up a pair of jeans, Tanner Ray elevated his t-shirt and jeans to make them seem perfectly appropriate for the news he had to deliver. Spoiler alert, the too long didn't read version of tonight's presentation is, we're integrating the exchange into My Life. In the break of silence before the audience continued their clapping and whistling, Tanner added, I can tell you that because I trust you'll stay to hear the rest. He walked the stage purposefully and with confidence. He was at home in front of this group. The exchange already allows us to invest in the three C's: companies, commodities, and children. We hedge our bets on their successes and reap the rewards for our savvy and thoughtful selections. The audience was listening, but they took their seats. And on My Life, we already share everything about, well, our everything. In fact, many of us, Tanner took a moment to look about the room, share personal stories about our children, their successes and the funny moments, but also the shortcomings and frustrations of parenting. We share those because we desire validation. You are not alone in this. Others have been there before or are going through it right now. Where the village or a tribe or a family once provided the network of support, social media now is your community. It's a sounding board. It's a sympathetic ear to listen, and sometimes it's weathered, been there, done that sage wisdom that you need so badly. And at least one somebody is always awake to listen. Tanner paused. Was he losing him? Am I right? He asked. Heads nodded, and a few audible acknowledgments floated into the air. All right, one day I was sitting there talking with my wife, and she said something about investing in our children's future. I have to admit, I wasn't paying full attention. Sorry. Tanner shrugged, and the audience laughed. But when she said that, I perked right up. I asked her to repeat it. She did, and boom. On boom, a floor-to-stage screen lit up behind Tanner. He turned to look at it and to give the audience a moment to adjust to the image. The immediately recognizable My Life icon appeared on the far extreme of the screen, and the ubiquitous stylized dollar sign appeared on the other, a chasm between the two. It's no secret that you can already invest in children, but honestly, who gets involved with that? The audience was shrugging and looking at one another. I mean, who really gets involved with that? Are you doing the picking and choosing, or are you hiring some investor to do it for you? Yet you're surrounded by a world of children, and many of them are part of your My Life community. Parents already invest in their own kids. We buy their initial shares, and beyond money, we also invest our time and energy in raising them the best way we can, hoping they'll succeed and not be burdened with debt. Yes, sometimes family members, especially grandparents, kick in and buy some shares to show that they have skin in the game too. We aren't and they aren't in it for the return when our offspring graduate high school. There are, of course, people who invest solely for those gains and risk the losses on poorly selected investments. Tanner stopped his walk slightly off-center and stood there for a moment, as if organizing his words. He licked his lips, blinked his eyes, breaking the eye contact he'd consistently had with the audience, and then rubbed the corner of his left eye with his finger. His microphone picked up a quiet sniff and the intake of breath before he began again. But if children are our future, shouldn't the whole community have an easy way of lending a hand? He wiped his other eye with his hand. That all changes today. That's right, it's going live by the time I finish this presentation. The old process was too cumbersome. You had to go out of your way and really work at it to invest in someone other than your own child. You needed to do research on anyone else, and frankly, that's hard to do without the access that brokers have. I mean, you can't just go and request test scores from schools. Tanner paused again and let that start to sink in. In 95 seconds, My Life will go live with integrated exchange technology. In the same place you already share photos, videos, and stories about your life and the lives of your children, and read stories and view photos and videos of the lives of your My Life community and their children, you'll be able to invest in the children that you read about. It won't interfere with your enjoyment of the site, but there will be a new piece of information with every post about children. A small ticker will indicate the current price of shares in that child, and in one click, you'll be able to invest. It's simple. We're just bringing these two worlds together in one place. The My Life icon and the stylized $sign began moving towards one another. Parents, you can promote your child with stories, your photos, your videos, the things you already share. Investors, you can help ensure the future success of those future leaders. We're not so much offering anything new as we're simply marrying two systems you already know and love. When the two icons met, they merged into MY $LIFE. All eyes were on the screen, and none noticed that Tanner Ray was no longer visible on the stage. The combined icon disappeared, and Tanner Ray's My Life page appeared. The screen scrolled and revealed a post generated seconds ago. Had he been posting this during his own presentation? It was an image of Tanner's youngest child, age 5, with the caption, "Invest in the future." In the lower right-hand corner of the posting was a small ticker with a combination of Glenn's initials and date of birth, GMR1211, followed by $1. The familiar click sounded in the otherwise breathless auditorium, and options appeared. Unseen figures typed 1 million shares and clicked buy. The value shifted, and an upward-pointing green arrow appeared next to GMR1211. The screen went black for a split second before shifting to a new image. It was Tanner's oldest child, age 9, Katarina King-Ray. She seemed unaware of the camera and was completely engrossed in the drawing she was creating with crayons. The art was mostly obscured by her arm, but the intensity of her focus was clear on her face. Unseen fingers typed out the caption, "The next great artist?" As with Glenn's image, Katarina's also had a ticker in the lower right-hand corner, KKR0416. 1 million shares were purchased, and an upward-pointing green arrow appeared as it had for her brother. Katarina's image disappeared, and the screen began filling with photos of other children, all with their tickers in the lower right-hand corner. There was little Alex Santos, the son of the media mogul James Santos, who was sitting in the front row. The image remained on the screen long enough so the audience could tell who it was. See the image that was posted by Kathy Santos and have an opportunity to look to see if Jimmy was in the room. If he felt their eyes on him, he made no outward sign of it. Then the images came faster. Some were children of audience members or famous people, and others that were not. The screen continued to fill with more and more images until the individual faces were no longer discernible. Then a pattern emerged slowly from the collage of children before coming into focus. MY $LIFE. As one, the audience turned from their screen before them and shifted to those on their own devices. It was live. Thanks. Have a great night. Be safe.